Hello and welcome. You have tuned in to the Foreign Film Frequency, a podcast about what English speakers tend to call foreign language films or international films, and what the rest of the world simply call films. My name is Nikolai, and I'm joined by my friend and co-host Nicolas, and together we travel the world through cinema with the goal of watching a movie from every country in the world and bring you, the listener, our thoughts along the way. For each episode, we pick one movie to watch, discuss, and rate, and before we end, we'll let you know what movies we'll be watching next so that you, the listener, can join us in this journey from home. Now sit back, relax, and cue the subtitles. Nikolai.
Nikolai.
Do you remember getting your first phone?
I do, like it was yesterday.
And when was it?
It was back in 2002 or 2003.
Yeah. Do you remember which one it was?
Yes, it was the iconic Nokia 3310.
Same.
Yeah.
I think it can't have been far off for me either.
Yeah.
I remember clearly. So in Denmark, we have this thing called Culture Night, where different cities have this event where the cultural institutions sort of have open in the evening and they put on things for families and children and stuff. I remember one of my classmates was running around with his dad's phone, an Ericsson, something with a little antenna.
Yeah, my dad had that one as well.
Yeah, and I remember I was so fascinated by him sending a text, and it was still, 111 for a C or whatever. But I thought it was so amazing, so I played with my parents, and I got one for Christmas a few months later, the 3310. And then I went to school with it, and there was only me and one other guy who had one. And we could call each other and do nothing else.
You could play Snake too.
You could play Snake, which was...
For days. That was my favorite game, I think. For me, it was Snake 2 all the way until World of Warcraft.
I was quite quick to have the first phone, but I was very slow to get like a smartphone or anything like that. I had an old style phone for a while, and then for a long time I went back to an even, black and white screen, Snake and all that kind of phone for a period. That was way after. Way after you should have that.
It was way after you should have it, but way before it became cool again.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have the flip phone, like the Motorola from The Matrix?
No, my dad had it through his work. He had some different ones, but...
I mean, I had the flip phone, so you could flip it all day. You could sit in class, just click, clack, click, clack, and just pretend you're Neo, click, clack.
Well, the reason why we're talking about cell phones, of course, is because it plays quite a big part in today's movie, which is, interestingly enough, set in 2005, which is... I don't know why exactly, except for the fact that is because getting a cell phone is quite a big plot part in it, that you can see that it needs to be in a time where a phone with a camera is something unobtainable for a lot of people.
Yes, and amazing, and something that no one can figure out how to use.
So what movie did we watch?
So today's movie is from Paraguay, the third film, the third country, the third continent. And we watched the 2012 action thriller 7 Boxes, directed by Juan Carlos Maneglia and Tana, Schémbori, and written by the same two, as well as a guy called Tito, Chamorro.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, but before we get to the actual movie, I think I need to address something, because at the end of our first episode was where we picked this movie, but if you listen to that episode, you also heard that we spun this random country spinner a few times, and not once, but twice she landed on Peru, not Paraguay. and I didn't have a movie ready for Peru, so I very quickly said that we'll just do Paraguay instead, which is a thing I even call the neighboring country, which is not, but whatever. But yeah, now I know that we haven't really released any episodes at the time of recording this one, but I, of course, really feel in my heart that this is going to be massive, and I'm anticipating a massive following in Peru. So not piss them off beforehand, I just want to send them an apology. And in the words of one of our time's greatest orators,
we are the Lima of America.
Yes, but I also did more than that, because I did not just... It's not just empty words. I actually went out and bought, what is this?
Oh, you bought Dias de Santiago.
On DVD, the most scratched up copy of a DVD that I own. But yeah, I bought a Peruvian movie on DVD for a future episode.
It says, we might need to translate this, but it says El Rivero de Taxi Driver.
Exactly. It's a Peruvian
Taxi Driver.
inspired movie inspired by a taxi driver. But I bought it on eBay. It is a really beat up copy, so I really hope that it works. But
Can I watch this at your place? I don't have a DVD player.
Perfect. What a perfect time to tell me. But yes, so we'll do one in the future for Peru. Anyway, as always, we also look at 3 other more mainstream movies that came out the same month as the movie that we watched, and this one came out in August of 2012. So please, Nikolai, can you tell us what Hollywood had to offer in August of 2012?
So we had The Bourne Legacy, the 4th installment of the Bourne series, directed by Tony Gilroy. We had The Expendables 2, directed by Simon West, starring Sylvester Stallone and the rest of the washed-up gang, plus Liam Hemsworth. And we had Total Recall, directed by Len Wiseman, the adaptation of the classic Schwarzenegger sci-fi flick, starring Colin Farrell, Kate Beckinsale, and Jessica Biel. Have you seen any of these?
I can't really remember if I've actually seen the 4th Bourne movie. I know I've seen some of the other ones, but it's a blur. If I've seen it, I wouldn't be able to tell. Expendables 2, I know I've seen it. The new Total Recall, no, not at all. What about you?
I've watched the first 2 on the list. The new Total Recall, no. But I do love Colin Farrell, so I think I might
you might actually watch it.
Yeah.
But see if he's a better Schwarzenegger.
I actually think I've watched The Bourne Legacy a minimum of 5 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he that good?
No. My dad loves the Bourne Legacy series. Okay. So whenever we don't know what to do, we either put one of them on, and then we need to watch all the series, or Gladiator. Okay. As soon as Gladiator is put on, my mom just gets up from the couch and just walks away because she can't watch it anymore.
So are there any of them that you'd rather watch than today's movie?
Rewatch or experience for the first time?
All right, let's say, is there anyone that you would rather watch right now?
So rewatch.
Yeah.
Yes, I think both of them I would rather rewatch.
Than today's movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
None of them I would rather watch for the first time than today's movie. So if we imagine a world where we have the, a Men in Black, memory swiper, I really enjoyed, without getting too much into it, I really enjoyed the first viewing of today's film. But I think the rewatching factor is low.
It's low and it's spoiled a little bit, right? Yeah, I get what you mean. I'm not a big fan of those classic action, just shooting, bang, bang movies. The Bourne movies, while I'm not really sure I've seen all of them, and I don't know if I've seen this one, but those are fine. They're all right. I like today's movie a lot. I don't think if it's watching for the first time, I think I'll watch today's movie.
Yeah.
So let's start by reading the IMDb tagline. It says, Victor receives an unusual proposal to carry 7 boxes of unknown content through the market number 4, but things get complicated along the way. Does it sum up the movie?
I mean, you could say so, but it's
very vaguely.
It's selling it short, I think.
Yeah. It doesn't sound very interesting, but
no. I wanted to watch it with my wife, and she actually read it, and she was like, "Nah, I'm good."
I'm good. No need. It's actually a movie I would think that most people would like if they gave it a chance. I think it's quite a mainstream, enjoyable movie compared to the other 2 we watched.
Definitely,
where I think Man Bites Dog is, you have to have that sort of sense of humor for it, and Bokazari is just torture except for the novelty. But now let's dig into the movie itself, and if you haven't watched it and don't want any spoilers, this is where you might want to pause the episode. Consider yourself warned. So the movie revolves around Victor, who is a wheelbarrow boy. He drives a wheelbarrow around this market number 4. He drives goods for the merchants and the shoppers. I think it's a thing in Paraguay that people know about more than I think in a lot of places, because it seems like there are quite a few in this movie that it's a thing, that it's a way to earn a living, that you have these very kind of primitive-looking homemade wheelbarrows that then drive around and hope some shoppers need their stuff carried home, or a merchant needs something transported, and then you get some money to do it. Well, Victor is dreaming of becoming something more. He's dreaming of becoming a movie star and seeing himself on the television in an action film. And then his sister, Tamara, shows up with a phone, which she's trying to sell for a co-worker for 600,000 Paraguayan guarani. And I looked this up, and 600,000 Paraguayan guarani in 2005, which is when the movie said, is about 115 euros or 133 US dollars in today's world, 20 years after when the movie is set. I think it is, in the movie, it's very much for these wheelbarrow boys and the people in the movie in general, that is a lot of money. It is almost unobtainable. And it's not something that you just cash out. So what do you think about the premise of the movie? Or the beginning, I guess. It sets the scene for a desire, I think.
Yeah, it does, and it paints a picture of poverty, I think, but not like desperate poverty, more like, they know what's in the world, but they have none of it, and they're willing to do almost anything to get by.
It's very much a movie about like the hardship of pursuing something else, dreaming yourself away as well. He's dreaming himself into a movie, and sort of the battle to get out of a tough situation that you're in, or whatever lot in life you are awarded at birth, basically.
Yeah.
I also think it's worth. I think with this movie, it's very clear, very quickly. The way it starts, it's quite well made. The cutting of the scenes, the market, which is where the entire movie, almost the entire movie takes place in this market with narrow alleys and shoppers and this and that and goods and merchants and everything. I think it sets the scene quite well. Some quick shots, camera work, and cutting between life in this, and you really have this idea of this massive place where a lot of these characters, their whole existence is sort of within the confines of this market.
Yeah, the market is the world.
Yeah. For them, it is the world, and it also it's both where they like. It's also where they will either make it or not, basically. So Victor is immediately drawn to the phone because it has a camera, and it's a ticket to see himself on screen in some way, even if it's a small and very, very shitty screen. I mean, this is one of those really early camera phones you can see. I don't even think this is. I think when you see it and think now, or maybe think in 2012, I think you could very quickly get the idea that maybe this would not have been interesting anywhere else. But I think in 2005, this phone that they're showing was not a bad phone. It's not just in Paraguay. This is fine.
No, it's a
camera
color
phone.
camera. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But he really wants this. Now, I've tried to really... the reason why I'm sort of stalling a little bit is because this is a movie that is so character-driven. There's a lot of characters, and it's all connected. They're all connected in some way. They know each other. Sometimes without knowing each other, they are aware of each other. I think the script is amazing, the way it all ties together, because it all sort of works towards this final climax that we will get to in the end. And you have the feeling that if you take out one character, everything else changes, and the story is completely derailed. And there's a lot of them. So I tried to write it out here. So we have Victor, and we have Victor's sister, Tamara, who works in a restaurant. The restaurant is owned by an Asian man, a Korean, whose son Jim is also in love with her. And I looked this up because I thought it was a little funny choice to have Koreans in the movie. I don't know. It's not a plot point in a way. So it was an interesting thing to have, that they speak Korean and work in this Korean. And I looked it up, the Koreans in South America, and apparently there was a lot coming in the end of the 20th century. And one of the first places they settled was in Paraguay because they opened their borders in the mid-'60s for Korean workers to come in.
Yeah.
Apparently it's been in decline a little bit, but it is a thing that there are, or have been at least quite a few Korean guest workers that then became citizens of Paraguay.
So it would ring true, basically.
Yes, exactly. Because it's never, that weirdly enough is not really a plot point, I think. It just, they are.
They just are, but there is a bit of a, I don't know, like a racial stereotype going on with the owner.
Yeah, he's definitely in charge and not treating his workers very well. Well, his son is much more understanding. I think maybe there's a generational thing of how they're treating each other. But Chamorro works there in this restaurant with Letty, who is the owner of the phone that she was trying to sell earlier. And Letty's 9 months pregnant and needs money for the child. That's why she wants to sell the phone. And she has a boyfriend, Gus, who is also involved with some shady business at a butcher shop with his boss, Don Dario. And on this day, he needs 7 boxes transported.
Yeah, Victor is called there because
So he another person, one of the minor roles. He's friends with Alejandre or Ale, who works in a phone shop. She is the sister of Goose. Yeah, Nikolai is looking very confused, but because it is a tangled web of characters and they don't always know each other, as I said. But she works there, and a policeman often comes to flirt with her, and she's not interested. On this day, Victor, having seen this phone that his sister shown him, goes to the phone shop and looks around at phones and their expensive price tags. Then Ale is called by Gus, her brother, who needs these boxes transported, and she says, I can't go, but maybe Victor can go.
Yeah, so she recommends Victor because he's a wheelbarrow boy, and that should be right up his alley. Yeah,
exactly. And he goes there, and he asks for money to do this, transport these boxes around the market. And he gets half of $100.
Yeah, and that sums up you had a point earlier about kind of the idea of wealth and the idea of making it is that, like, you know, the scene where the $100 are put in front of his face, and you know, he's just like, that's so much money, and then it's just torn in half, and then you kind of see his face.
When I said he gets half of $100 to begin with, he gets half and half. Literally, the goose, he rips it in part and gives him one half and says he can have the other half when he returns with the boxes later or when he finishes the job. Then we have Nelson. So Nelson is another wheelbarrow boy in this market, and he's a rival of Victor's. He's introduced very quickly early on, stealing a customer from Victor who's daydreaming, watching the action movie. And he constantly needs money for insulin for his diabetic child. He has a small child and a wife. And he's often transporting goods for Don Dario. But when he's needed on this day, he is in a pharmacy and told that the medicine is 200,000 guarani for this insulin. Hence, Gus calls Ale, who then sends Victor. Then we also have perhaps my favorite character, which is Liz, which is the friend, a girl who hangs around the market. I don't really know if it's even stated what she is. A character in the market, I think. She seems a little odd in a way, and I don't know, a little all over the place. They
seem like they are in love without realizing.
Knowing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But she is Victor's friend, and I think that sets the stage for this movie. As I said, it's really, really, there's a lot of these characters and they all play actually quite big roles in the movie. So Victor is sent around with these boxes, and then Nelson arrives because he had a missed call or a message from Gus that they needed him. He shows up, and then we meet Louise, who has a smile that only a mother can love. How would you describe Louise?
Louise looks creepy, really creepy, and it seems like he's not bald in real life.
No,
I think it looks like a really bad bald makeup.
I hope to God that he has fake teeth in this movie, because my God, they're so disgusting.
The rat man.
Brown, rotten teeth, and it's just...
He just looks like shit. He looks... Yeah, he's bald with this patchy, curly hair sticking out from the sides. He has rotten teeth. He's his eyes are kind of askew.
Yeah.
He has this mole somewhere around the nose.
He's just a disgusting.
And then he's just, he's wearing what I'm assuming is a really standard piece of clothing in Asunción, Paraguay.
Yes, exactly.
Which is the old, silken dress shirt that's buttoned up until like 3 or 4 buttons down, and then just has this really disgusting chest hair going.
Yeah, and then a blazer.
Yeah, he just looks Jesus, like a backroom casting director.
He's perfect for the role of this slimy little low-level crime man.
Yeah.
But anyway, we find out that Luis and Don Dario have some sort of scheme going on. They keep talking about tomatoes and lettuce because they've been discussing about sending this around. We get to know that it's sort of a code for something. And
know your vegetables, people.
Yeah, exactly. And then Nelson is standing there, and he hears that apparently was it tomatoes? I think it's tomatoes, because Luis told him to send the tomatoes around.
Divide the tomatoes in 7,
Divide the tomatoes in 7 and send them around the market. And then he lets slip that this means $250,000. And Nelson hears this and leaves, thinking that, Victor is now out with 7 boxes with $250,000 in it. Then we return to Don Dario and Luis, and we hear that they've mixed up the code words and that lettuce was something else. And at the same time, we have Victor discovering what this is by opening one of the boxes. And it turns out that it is a woman.
A corpse.
A corpse that has been cut up now into 7. So Luis meant that he should have sent the money around in 7 different boxes. And that's what Nelson hears. But in reality, Don Dario's men in the butcher shop has cut up a woman, and now
that they were not
supposed to cut up, and put her into 7 different boxes and sent Victor on the way. Now, before Victor discovers this, one of his boxes is also stolen by a guy, and we have a chase scene. And I love this scene. The camera work in this chase scene through the market is just brilliant. What do you think?
I think so too. Yeah. It has a real sense of quality about it without being overproduced. The rest of the movie, it rings true.
Yeah, it's not explosive or anything. It's just really cool cuts and the camera sort of running in front of them and them running towards. It just looks really good and over different merchandise.
Michael Bay would hate it.
Yeah. There's no explosions. There's no over the top.
Like they ran into fruit and it didn't explode.
Exactly. But it's really beautiful shot. But this guy gets away with the box, and Victor returns, sad that he's lost one of these boxes. He's at that point he still doesn't know, but he decides to open them, and he sees what they are talking about. It's sort of intercut between their conversation, Luis and Don Dario's, and him discovering that there are body parts in it. So now Nelson is out looking for Victor, and he's joined by Liz, and they sort of play a cat and mouse game around this market.
Yeah, and Liz comes to his rescue. They have a really funny relationship because she's there for him every step of the way, and he also helps her. They're really caring about each other, but at the same time they're teenagers. So whenever they have a moment of silence to talk about something, they hate each other.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just like you're.
And he's a bit of a dick.
He is.
He is a bit of a dick to her.
Yeah.
But there's a great scene because Victor is given a phone so that Don Dario and Gus can get in contact with him, and then they're trying to. I've messed it up. This is really super complicated. It's not, but I think first Nelson is actually sent out just to look for Victor and sort of get the boxes back. And he gets a phone and he can call Victor, and Victor says, "Go to hell! I need this money. I'm delivering these goods. You're just trying to steal it from me." There's a great scene where Victor and Liz are hiding, and Nelson is right outside, and he calls, and the phone rings behind this blanket or something like that, where they're hiding, and Liz just takes the phone and acts like it was somebody else calling, and she's quite quick thinking and helps him a lot. Anyway, so that's where I got it wrong, because then Nelson returns, and that's where he finds out that now there is this money in that lettuce or tomatoes or whatever it is supposed to be that, and that's what he hears. He doesn't hear the rest of the conversation where they then discuss that it's a body. Back on track. I think at the same time, Victor has discovered that this is body parts, and then he's stopped by the police. The police wants to check the merchandise, and he's panicking because he knows what it is.
Yeah.
Then he sees that one of the policemen is the same policeman that was flirting with Alejandra in the phone shop earlier. And he sort of says to him, "Oh, this is the girl you like's stuff. Don't mess with it." And the policeman stops his colleague from opening it.
The promise of getting laid.
The promise of getting laid saves the day again.
Yeah.
See, the world is saved by horny men.
Said no one ever.
No one ever. But I think actually now we're at it with the policeman. I think the movie is quite generous with the police. It doesn't have a sort of almost cliche sometimes that the police in these movies are just evil all the time. I mean, they're not the most competent people perhaps all the time in this movie, and but they're also very human. They try to help. They also get tired, and then.
And they're also corrupt, but I think
also
they're corrupt
in a way that seems realistic. Where it's not
humane
like,
way.
Yeah, humane way.
No, but
yeah, I know what you mean. It seems realistic of how it is. It's not they're just corrupt people. I think that's the thing sometimes when we talk about these kind of movies, when we talk about Hollywood movies. If you have a foreign policeman in a foreign country, in any other movie, they're evil and corrupt in sort of way. This is sort of just like the kind of corruption that you would expect from market policemen, that they take a little on the side, and they're not bad in any. They're also just trying to survive and make a living in a way.
One of the policemen actually end up purchasing
the phone.
Liz's phone.
Yeah, exactly.
And the starting price was, I think,
not Liz's phone, Letty's phone.
Letty's phone, yeah. And the starting price that that Liz mentioned. Right, Tamara,
the sister,
and the starting price that Tamara mentioned
in the beginning
was
600,000.
600,000, and then they cut to a scene where the policeman says, "So we agreed on 400,000." And he also before that tells her, "You better sell that quickly because they'll probably confiscate it."
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, he does kind of decrease his price, but he gives her a heads up, and he ends up paying for it. He could just have stolen it.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of what I mean with in a humane way, because there is, other than the gang of psychos that Nelson eventually hires, there's no one in the film that I don't empathize with to some extent, even Nelson.
Yeah, because we know his situation.
He's not driven by, it's not greed.
No.
It's not, he doesn't want to spend it on...
Yeah. Oh, and now I just remember that I've messed up again. So Victor, when he's stopped by the police, I don't think he actually knows yet what is in it. I think I messed that up again, because that's right after Nelson was out finding him. And Nelson sees that he's being stopped by the police. Now, Victor is nervous because he probably knows that this is not legal stuff, but I don't think he knows yet, because then Nelson goes back and tells that, the police
have confiscated,
the boxes, but he knows that he's still, he runs a, no, he doesn't know yet, but then Victor opens the boxes. There's a scene later on, because Nelson now has heard that there were money in these boxes, and he buys the drinks to some policemen and at a hot dog stand, and says, "Oh, I heard you found some boxes with a lot of money in it." They're like, "No, we didn't." And so he realizes that they never actually opened them, and that Victor is still out with these boxes. I'm sorry to really, because at the same time as all this was happening, we have the second, because we are also following what's happening in the restaurant where his sister works. So his sister works with Letty, and Letty goes into labor. And the owner, the Korean man, I can't remember what his name is. I'm not sure.
He has a name.
He hasn't a name? No, I don't think he's mentioned at all by name, other than your father or something like that to Jim, the son. But he just yells in Korean at the woman whose water just broke.
While she's frying eggplant.
While she's frying something. And Jim comes in, and Jim says he has a crush on Tamara, so he gets the company van, and they drive off to a hospital with her. Now, at the hospital, the doctor is saying, "Oh, it looks like there might be some complications and stuff. Are you family?" No, she's not. But she knows that she has a boyfriend, Gus. But she doesn't know who Gus is. She just knows that she has a boyfriend. But earlier, Letty asked her to cover her shift because she needed to go and clean up a room. And she is handed a key and an address and the phone from the doctor to see if she can find the father, Gus. So Jim and Tamara drive off to this address, and she uses the key to get inside and finds a room which is filthy. And in the back room of that, there is sort of a almost like a locked off room, and inside there's a broken window and a lot of blood on the floor. And at the same time while this is happening, Luis and Don Dario are talking, and we figure out that they have had a woman kidnapped that they put in this room, and that she tried to escape. And when she did, she bashed this window and then cut her wrist by accident. And because everybody in that other room, in the front room, were busy listening to music and drinking and
getting dinner, I think.
And they didn't hear it in time. So by the time they got to her, she was already dead. And that is the woman that is now being driven around the market.
Yeah. Who is... because... Luis and Don Dario have a business acquaintance.
Yeah, that's true.
Who comes into the foray?
They Jorge that they keep talking about, that they're afraid of. But they sort of come up with a plan that this woman was not supposed to die. It's very clear that was a very big mistake and something that they're quite scared of, that she's dead now. Luis is constantly telling Don Dario that she's an idiot to let this happen. Of course, we figure out that they want to now split the money. They want to meet up with, they want to get rid of the body, first of all, and then they want to meet up with Jorge and split the money as they had planned, to sort of just get the money and run, because he's not a man to be messed with, is the sense, I think. Now, back at this place where Tamara and Jim are, the police show up, and they find the scene, and they arrest them, and they are put onto the back of a truck, along with a transvestite prostitute. Another really great character.
And the funniest scene of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. But then... while all this is happening, I know this is like while this is happening, but it's all just jumbled up and happening at the same time. Victor has managed to find Gus and another of the butcher workers somewhere. But while they have, Nelson has managed to gather up some other wheelbarrow boys and girls around, and he's promising them now a lot of money if they can help him find these boxes. And they set out. And one of them has a gun, and they find, just as he's about to drop this off and get the last of his money and all that, and now he can get this phone, a shot rings out, and the guy next to Gus, the other butcher worker, is killed, and they run away. But the police hears the shots and arrest Gus, or Gus, and he's put onto the same police car, pickup truck, as Tamara, as Jim, and as this transvestite prostitute, and a policeman. And I think it's so good because at this point we realize that these two people who should know each other don't know each other. I mean, she has never seen the boyfriend that she's been looking for, and has no idea that is who she's sitting. I think that's quite clever.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing, and the way she figures out that this is in fact Gus is the transvestite prostitute. Yeah. Who's like, Gus,
yes.
You don't remember me? And he's like, oh no, I don't remember. And then she says, I gave you a discount on like 10,000 guarani on some boulevard.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Tamara realizes, not only is this Gus, but he's also...
Yeah, but yeah, it's a really, really good scene. I think it's also funny because the police are also just... The policeman is just finding it a little bit funny as well, and I mean, there's not really any indication that they particularly look down on this transvestite prostitute or anything. They're just like, another person that they've picked up that night that they need to get in.
And the police are doing their best because they call in. This is a murder, on the open street, and they call in for a car to come and get the corpse and drive away the suspects.
Exactly, because they just at the same time these people, which are from 3 different crimes now. One has just is accused of murder or it was at a shooting. Yeah. The others have come out of a room with another dead person, and the other one is a prostitute. And then they just throw the dead body up in between them and drive off. And it's just like, what a night!
On like an open pickup truck.
So they go to the police station now. Tamara. When she was in the restaurant, Victor came and said, hold the phone because now I'm about to get into money. And he gave her half of his $50 bill. So she has that. And then the the prostitute says to the policeman, if you let me go into this cell with Goose, I'm sure I can get him to talk with you. But then you also have to let me go. And after a while, she comes out and is picked up by some of her friends. Yeah. And the policemen are talking about all the things that Goose has talked about. We are left wondering what happened in there. Yeah. But Tamara hears about this boy with a description that she figured out, that's my son. Brother. My brother. And they say, go away. But then they find Goose's half of that $1 and she has the other and she can show, and then they're like, okay, she might know what this is. Anyway, back to Victor, because Victor is still trying to find out how to get out of this situation. At some point he wants to turn in to the police and say, I have these boxes, but then he walks past a television shop where they have, I think most people of our age would remember this as well, that a lot of they would have televisions, and they would have like a camera pointing out, and when you walk by you would see yourself kind of thing. And he does that, and he sees himself on the television, and he decides, I'll never have this opportunity again to get this phone and get my face on a screen in some way. And then he decides to continue with his job and get this back somehow to some people, to Don Dario, who can pay.
And he's such a brilliant escapist that he flees into a closed parking garage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because Nelson and his gang...
When that happened, I was just like, dude, what are you doing?
Nelson and his gang are running after him again. They sort of pop up here and there and chase him. Right before that, Liz and Victor sees a man with the same sweatshirt as the guy who stole a box earlier. I know that's a long time ago in this already that we talked about that one box was stolen in the chase scene. But they see him. So Victor goes to confront him, finds out it's his friend. And then Nelson and his gang shows up, and there's a quite another cool scene, because then they all flee together, and they flee into a nightclub with the wheelbarrow, with the boxes and people dancing, and everything is quite cool made as well. It's quite a cool scene, because Nelson comes in and the guy with the gun fires it into the air, and everybody panics and runs away. And in the confusion, Victor sort of gets separated from Liz and the friend, and runs into a parking garage. And he's cornered there, but there's a guy fixing a truck, and manages to put the boxes onto the truck. And just as the truck starts, Nelson spots him, and they chase him and fires a few shots. The truck stops at some point. This is one of the weird points, I think, because we have this feeling he's in the back of the truck. The truck driver doesn't know. He's just been chased by some mad people with a gun. And the truck stops at its destination, I suppose. And then suddenly Liz and her friend are just there again. I think that was the only one was like, oh, that's a little convenient.
No, it was because
or is it me?
They're stopped when the gunshots go off.
Yeah.
While they're chasing the truck, the police are driving. Yeah. With Liz and just with. No.
I'm not sorry. That's Tamara.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I keep mixing them up. The police are driving
with Tamara
and Jim in the car
to look for her brother.
Yes, and then they hear the gunshots.
And
they stop the truck.
Oh yeah, they stop. That's true. They stop the truck. Sorry about that, but
no problem.
The friend and Liz show up and help him off with the thing, and he.
That's a ridiculous scene, though, because they offload the boxes like in the back of the small truck while the police are standing in front of it. Yeah. And as the truck drives off, they kind of... Gone. Yeah, but Victor and... Liz. I can't remember these names.
There's so many.
They kind of just kneel down, like a toddler will hide behind a tree, behind these six boxes in the middle of the street, and no one sees them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So by this time, the phone that Victor got, well, he's also lost it because him and Liz has a race after they're sort of up and down all the time. They fight and then they make up and that. But they have a race and Liz wins, and the deal was the phone. Yeah, there's a lot of other things that we can't get into. There's a fire at some point. He thinks that the boxes have been burned,
but
Liz found them and gets them out. There's so many of small plot points.
We can't go through every scene.
Basically, the phone is out of battery, but the guy who stole the other box has a phone with a battery, and they change the batteries. Luckily, it's convenient, but he manages to make a call to to Don Dario and say that I'll meet you somewhere with the boxes, and they agree. They are at this point parked outside of Jorge's place, waiting for him to arrive, and then they are robbed in a fantastically funny scene by these two. Teenagers. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that happens actually, I think, before because when Victor calls Don Dario, it's these kids who just like, no, this is not Don Dario. I just robbed it for him, and Victor is like, oh, okay, nice. Yeah. Where are they now? Yeah. And they're like, oh, they're that address. Oh, thank you so much, mate.
It's completely normal to have situation. A phone stolen.
It's just clear that in this place, you can call somebody and it's just somebody else, and they're like, oh, no, I took it now, or I bought it from somebody else. So that's
no problem.
A normal conversation. It's very funny. But anyway, we're getting towards the end because now he is on his way to where they stole it, and they're waiting outside Jorge's place. They go in to meet Jorge, and we sort of find out that what has happened, what this whole thing is about, is that Jorge has a wife, and his wife comes from a wealthy family. And what these three men, Luis, Don Dario, and Jorge, has figured out is that they will or fake a kidnapping in a way, not with her, but they're kidnapping the wife of Jorge and putting her in this room where she eventually dies, and then getting some ransom money, the $250,000 from her dad. And then they will split the money, and she will be free and go back to her husband and all that. And that's why they're scared, because she was not supposed to die. And Jorge is very like, we got the money. Where's my wife? my father-in-law is getting really, really impatient now. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're just trying to be safe, and it's fine. But shouldn't we split up the money now? And all that. And that, well, as that happens, Victor arrives. But just with the wife in six boxes, because the guy who stole the box, he saw what was in it and threw it in the river when he saw that it was body parts. But as he's moving towards where Don Dario and Luis are. They're spotted by his sister in the back of the police car, and the police sort of follows him with Jim and Tamara in the back to find. And it's the same policeman that we followed that started flirting with Alejandro in the phone shop in the beginning, and his partner. So they are sort of hiding while Victor goes and knocks. He doesn't know that they're there, and he says, "Here's the boxes," to Don Dario, who comes and opens. And Don Dario is like, well, Get out of here now. And he's like, "No, give me my money." And Don Dario goes to get fresh money because he says that little piece of what's left of this note is not worth anything, but.
And he laughs.
He laughs, but he's basically just, if I pay you, can you just fuck off right now, because it's not good. And then they see the policeman, and at that moment, Don Dario is shot, and it turns out that Nelson is there with his gang, and it plays out from there. So the police runs out. One of the policemen is shot, not the one that flirted, and Nelson grabs Victor and points the gun at his head. Inside the building, Jorge and Luis are having a discussion, and they want to get out of there, but Jorge throws the bag on the floor, and Luis sort of goes to grab it, and Jorge beats his brains out on the floor. Outside, it's all happening very quickly, but basically we have a standoff where the policeman is pointing at Nelson, and Nelson is pointing at Victor, and at a certain moment, policeman fires, hits Nelson, and both he falls dead on the ground with a bullet through his head, and Victor falls and hits the back of his head onto the pavement. Next, we then see Victor wake up in the hospital, and on every television, there is this scene played out, because it turns out that the phone that the policeman bought from Tamara, which was Letty's phone, that he was holding it, and he was filming this standoff in the street, and now Victor sees that he's finally on television in an action sequence where Nelson is being shot, and everybody sees it, and there's a small smile on his face. And I think the last scene we see is Jorge is sailing out on a river with a bag full of money. So he gets away, and then you zoom in on the last box that is floating in that river that was thrown off, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah. I'm glad it wasn't me that had to map out.
Oh my God! Yeah. So this one was really hard. Yeah. But as I say, what is and I said in the beginning is that every character plays a role in this. There's every little thing is thought about, and so I've watched this once before, and the second time I'm watching it, and I think that you really realize how perfectly written this movie is. Like the script is just really, really good because everything is thought out. There's no loose ends. There's a few things that are maybe a little convenient, but otherwise, every single stage of this plot leads to that final standoff where everybody sort of comes together in the street and have this standoff, and it ends with basically the same thing it started with, that he's now on that television screen in the markets, right? Yeah. So what did you think of the movie?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. As I said in the beginning, I have a hard time imagining watching it again because it's very, to pick a Hollywood reference, it's like Shutter Island, if you've seen that one.
Yeah.
So it's a brilliant movie.
When you don't know what's going on.
When you don't know what's going on.
Because I think it plays a lot on in the beginning. Yeah. You think that this is drugs. It's
so... you don't know what it is. It's kind of...
No, in the boxes.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw it the first time, you get a little shocked when you see or when you hear that it's body parts, right?
Yeah. And then it's body parts, but you don't know who it is, and it's kind of really building momentum.
Yeah, in a way, it's sort of the most complicated way of writing a really simple story. Because it is all these things coming together, and you don't discover... I mean, you don't really meet Jorge, and you don't find out the plot of what it is these three men have done until the very end of it, that it's this kidnapping scheme. It's also... I think... If you watched it the first time, you might not have actually really realized it until he's in the hospital and it is sort of the news telling what it is that has happened, that, oh, this man was in this and this. Yeah.
But what I mean, it's really well written. The acting comes off as true, really true, without ever having been in Paraguay. But I mean, it's completely believable and sucks you in.
Yeah.
I think the budget of this film was $650,000.
It's not a lot.
I mean, it really goes to show how far you can get on a limited budget, right? Because, like, just to compare, I think in the same year, American Sniper came out with Bradley Cooper, and he had an upfront salary of $2.5 million. And you know, the quality and dedication in those movies are just miles off.
I think this one, for what we're doing here, where we're watching movies from around the world, I think this is perfect in a way, because it is showing in a what appears, as you say, I haven't been to Paraguay either, but what appears to be an authentic view of these people's situation. I thought it was interesting to see the phenomenon, I guess, of the wheelbarrow boys, that it's a thing that you sort of follow and focus on that as a part. I thought it's interesting, you know, the Koreans as a little side thing to learn about different cultures in a way and stories. This is not like a historic movie, or it doesn't have a backstory like, for example, Pulgasari, which is fascinating. It's a good movie. It's well written. What would you rate it out of 10?
I would give it a 5.
You would give it a 5?
Yeah.
All right.
And I really like it, but it's only the third movie, and you know, Man Bites Dog was an 8.5 for me, I think. No, it was an 8.
It was an 8.
It was an 8.
Yeah.
So and I think, I mean, on a level of brilliance, Man Bites Dog is still in its own category, even compared to this. There are some things in it that actually might make it a 6. I'm not sure, but.
I mean, 5 is average.
Not for me.
Okay. Okay. I'm glad we agreed on a scale that we can all get behind. For me, the middle one is not average.
But there are 2 things I would like to highlight. One of them, I think this movie was remade in Canada and in one more country. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I haven't watched those versions, but I can just imagine when Hollywood remakes this, it's going to have that, you know, warm color filter to kind of show you're in South America, right? And what critique? I mean, there is a bit of political edge to the movie, I think, but it's obviously not Hollywood because it's really subtle and not on the nose.
I think you're right.
Because the film is, I mean, capitalism is such a central theme in this film. Yeah. It doesn't critique the system. It just kind of shows the system in a very absurd way, where, you know, $100 bill is torn to pieces and loses value, but it holds promise of a better life, so everyone just goes along with it. where Nelson ends up a multiple murderer by the end of the film, and he's launched into this spiral of violence because he can't afford insulin for his toddler. The toddler thing and his motif is only mentioned once or shown once. If this was Hollywood, it would he would have calls from his wife with the crying baby, looking.
Or even worse, or even worse, it wouldn't be there. He would just be a bad guy.
Yeah,
because I think that's what this movie does so well, that you like everybody. And this is so rare, but you even like the police.
Yeah.
For a movie that is not where the police is not, it's not we're following cops. This movie is following poor people, and yet you still feel for the police. I mean, they have their own issues and act natural. And I think I like a lot of the smaller characters. I think the person playing the transvestite is fantastic.
Brilliant.
In that role, plays it so well. It's funny, and I just think I think it's a fantastic movie. I think. For me, it's a 7. I really, really like it. And I think I actually liked it. I know you said maybe the first time, but I think I like it a little better the second time because I wasn't so confused about. I sort of knew what was going on. I know that's exactly the opposite of what you said, but in a way, I kind of like it because it made me focus a little bit on how so much of it sort of fits. I mean, you can really see it how well everything plays out together, and I think that realization that there is not a scene in this movie you could take out and you would end up in that same place.
Yeah, just look at our going through the plot. Yeah. You miss one thing, and then 15 minutes later, it's like, now we're here.
Yeah,
and that doesn't make sense.
I mean, it's going to be cut out of the movie, but at one point we had to go and watch part of the movie again because we were like, oh, where were we? And this, and we were like, should we do it again? No, we'll just correct ourselves because it is really, really complicated because everything happens at the same time. All of this takes place within
48 hours, I think.
Is it even like that? Because it seems like it's basically he gets it in the day, and by the time it's at night, right?
Yeah, it might be 24
it might be, or
even
less from the daylight into the night, right? Yeah. But I think I'll give it a 7. Are you sticking with your 5?
I'll go for a 5.5.
5.5. Okay.
you swayed me, but I mean,
I was managed to talk it up.
I would.
Are we then on average, or are we above average?
We're above average.
Right,
I would think 5 is actually. I mean, 5 for me is good enough to watch.
Yeah. Okay.
But we might need to buff out the scale before the next episode. I would recommend this to anyone interested in watching something a little bit different, but that's still really compelling and really well made.
Yeah, I think this is also a perfect international movie for people who watch Hollywood movies because it's not artsy. It's not black and white French movies with a cigarette in a cafe, or it's not up its own ass in any way. It's not smelling its own farts, which some of these movies definitely will when we get into them. Some of them are going to be so absurd. But this one is just it's a quite classic, but it is also undeniably not Hollywood and undeniably Paraguay or South America, just another place, another culture.
Yeah.
All right, so we have to find the next movie. So, as always, we let you know the next 3 movies that we're going to watch. And the next one we'll watch, the 2002 Hungarian movie Control. After that, what we picked last time, we picked Christiane F. from Germany from 1982, I believe. And then we have to find the third one. And we have a list of potential movies from different countries. And as we've done the previous 2 times now, is that we find a random country spinner app and spin, and then we land on a country. We'll see if we have a movie from it, and then we'll pick one of those movies that's on the list.
Yeah.
So, Nicola, will you spin this time?
I'll spin now. It was a slow spinner, this one. Republic of the Congo.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
What do we have?
And why I'm so quick to react is because it's one that I actually tried to find a movie for at some point, and it was really hard, and I'm not sure. I think I actually found a movie, but I'm not sure I have it yet to with a place we can watch it. I think because I have one, I'll let you know what it is. I have the 2022 Mayoya. It is a movie that it was one of the only, what you say, full-length fiction movies, not documentaries from there that I could find. The problem is it doesn't even have any ratings on IMDb yet, and I have not been able to find a place to find it. But if we find it, we'll go back to it. But try and spin it again.
Yes, 1 second.
It will be that with some of these countries. There are also a few countries where I simply couldn't find for, and we have to decide if we want to watch like just a short film from it, or if we want to just watch a documentary or something, because there are some small islands that are quite hard to find.
This one should be interesting.
Yep. Lebanon. All right. We have, I have two on here. I have the 1998 West Beirut, set during the Lebanese Civil War. And then I have a 2017 movie called The Insult. Both of them are directed by Siad Doueri, and both of them have a 7.6 rating on IMDb. So any takers?
Let's go with the first one.
The West Beirut one? Then the 1998 West Beirut.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll watch the Lebanese movie, West Beirut from 1998 as the third movie.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, and
have a great evening.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Foreign Film Frequency. Please like, rate, and review us wherever you're listening. Please share us far and wide.